All right, so we have a lot to discuss today, but there's something I need to personally get off my chest. And I tried Wendy's for the first time today, and I have never tasted such a mediocre burger in my life. It's criminal, and for all intents and purposes, that the Wendy's Twitter account talks so much head on everyone else, I think they need to reevaluate themselves. First of all, Wendy's thinks that they're up and ahead of the game right now. They're adding all this innovation. They're adding all like you can order on these machines yourself. So I didn't even have to talk to a person, which was fine. If one of the fucking machines wasn't out of order, so there's only two machines that they're working on so far. It was a bad experience overall. The machines didn't work. The soda machine is not the normal soda machine where you just walk up and you click the little thingy lever and the soda pops out. It was one of these touchscreen things that also didn't work, and also of which there's only two, and also it's lunchtime, so there's a lot of people there. Then I get the burger. Nobody told me this. Little known to me, Wendy's has square patties. And that's all I got to say about that.
They do. Not here.
So you've had Wendy's before. You could have warned me about this because I take
What?
fast food very seriously because it is every college student's and every young person's saving grace. All right, it's cheap, affordable, it's a guilty pleasure, it works. But Wendy's was one of the only places that was so blatantly average to the point where I never want to see one again in my life. And good luck talking me into going into one again because in life, naturally, people remember the very good and people remember the very bad. What people forget is the average. However, when the average is so borderline teeter-tottering with the concept of disappointment and failed expectations, I cannot help but encourage all of you to boycott Wendy's. There, I said it because everyone's boycotting things these days. Let's boycott Wendy's. And it's not just the square patties. Sure, that's 98% of it, but the whole experience was one of the worst in my life. And what I'm trying to do is save you all from ever experiencing that ever again. So please take my experience to heart. Welcome to the salt grinder, where respect is a suggestion.
Well, like weird thing. I like Wendy's. It's not the best food, nor will I ever claim it is. I never tried the burger mainly because if I'm gonna order a burger with actual meat instead of chicken,
You kind of
uh,
want it to be good, right?
yeah, I take it from like some like with quality stuff. So I always for fast food joints I go for chicken burgers, and their burgers are right. Actually, you get good value for the dollars or for the Kuwaiti dinars you put in. Um, Surprisingly affordable and for fast food standards, at least here. And the food is kind of dry, which I like. I don't like my stuff too oily. They're very, in my experience at least, they're very easy. Like they're very easy on the sauce, and I don't like things too saucy. So like they're all right. I don't know. I don't know if they deserve a boycott.
Your opinion is invalid, and we're not here to talk about fast food, let alone Wendy's, which I am now convinced is at the bottom of the barrel. Although I have never tried Arby's before, so that still remains to be seen. Did anyone try? Or do you guys have Arby's over there?
I don't think so. And if there are, I haven't tried them. Tried them. I know you have Taco Bell, and the Taco Bell turned out to be like a surprise, a pleasant surprise for me. I thought I was gonna eat the taco and then I'm done. I'm just gonna run into the bathroom and just spend 3 hours there. But it was a surprisingly light and delicious meal.
No, the
And
problem is that it's every stoner's dream. What Taco Bell is. So they show up, they're drunk as shit. They order like 20 of the soft tacos and then they eat them all along with like a large 7 Up soda, and of course you're going to be going to the bathroom all night long.
Huh.
Because every taco at Taco Bell is like 99 cents. I mean, you show up at the drive-thru, you're like, I don't want to lose money on this. Give me 50 of them.
Huh. It's weird because both Wendy's and Taco Bell aren't the most popular fast food joints around, as far as I know. But like for what they give, they're not too bad. Nor people don't bring them off as often as I think they should. Like because where I'm from, it's McDonald's, Burger King, and Hardee's. These are the big three.
And Hardee's is just Carl's Jr., correct?
I'm not sure. I am not literate. I'm not a channel that refuses fast food. Goes through drive-throughs and in the car eats them, and
You've
somehow they're
seen those
YouTuber.
videos too,
Oh
right?
yes,
They're just
oh yes. It's the most
it is
ridiculous.
it's videos like that that remind me that YouTube is still a humble platform to some, and God bless those people, man, because YouTube has become so corporate that whenever you see somebody just talking in their room and it's like a shitty webcam, right? It's not even high quality. I relish those videos because those moments are beautiful. It could be you're right, a new YouTuber starting his channel. That's the joy of it, right? Experimenting with new video ideas, like going to a drive-through and ordering 10 spicy chickens from Wendy's, which apparently the comments say is what I should have gotten. I got a double Western cheeseburger because there's bacon in it and you can't go wrong with bacon, and they went wrong with bacon.
Yeah,
So
actually, like even in our place, we don't get pork bacon. We get cow bacon here because pork is taboo here. But out of all the bacons I've tasted, the one that tasted the blandest was Wendy's. I'll give you that.
yeah, everything about the experience. I typically like to give places the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I'm just in the heat of the moment and this is how I feel right now. But I typically like to give places second chances, particularly not during lunchtime because,
That's the
lunchtime is
worst. Yeah.
fast food it's a herd. But away from Wendy's, what else do we have to talk about today? There's
Well, we do have a bunch of stuff. Do we start light or do we go to the thick of it?
we usually go to the thick of it. So just this time, let's go to the thick of it again.
All right. So I don't think we've dissed or talked about feminism enough on this
It's
stream yet,
never enough.
right? Because there's only so much bitching you can do, but then I realized there's so much to bitch about still that this needs like a couple of re-explorations and expansions and DLCs and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, but I'm not willing to pay for any of it. All right. And thankfully, neither will you either. Comment section. Beautiful viewer watching
Unless you
this stream.
subscribe to our Patreon, we'll give you free
Yes.
nothing, and we'll give you a thumbs up at the end of the video.
Dude, how many people on Patreon have you noticed? Have you checked out Patreon tiers? This could be a video in and of itself. Patreon tiers. People don't know how to do Patreon tiers. Your $1 a month tier should not be a thank you, right? You're seeing that one. It's like you will get my utmost gratification if you pay $1 on Patreon. Don't even mention it. If somebody is ballsy enough to give you nothing more than $1 a month, they know they don't expect anything in return. But just the fact that you have that, like, you will get my instant gratification is it's cringe, just flat out. That said, dead ass, anything that is above $10 and is not offering a physical thing back to a person who is willing to give that much in tiers, you're doing Patreon wrong. And a lot of people do Patreon wrong. And that's why a lot of people are failing Patreon, because Patreon is in a bit of an issue right now based on like the Stardom of a COD free speech situation. And a lot of people have decided to jump onto Patreon at the wrong time. So you have to make great tiers. Otherwise, you're not going to sustain yourself.
Funny enough, like the two most popular that I've seen are access to exclusive streams, access to exclusive content, and now that I remember, access to a Discord server that's exclusive to people who pay. And the $1 gets you the Discord. The $10 gets you the exclusive like thing. Or you can even do one better, like Epic Rap Battles. Open the Patreon. And what they did is you get to have executive decisions if you are actually part of the thing. If you're part of, if you pay $50 or $10, like the more you pay, the more you can influence the creation of the new Epic Rap Battle, and that's how they've been going for it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty skeptical about that. Not that I donated to the Patreon, although that's one of the only Patreons that I would probably consider realistically donating to. But I was worried about if you pay enough, you have a say in the lyrics that go into the songs. And my biggest fear was like, okay, you have this guy that pays $500 a month to support the rap battles, but he just has fucking shit, stupid lyrics. And because he pays $500, you have to honor it, something like that. But it's something stupid like, your mom's a horse, bitch. And then like that's a line that they have to include because they paid $500. That was my biggest fear.
Well, the thing is limited to $50, which is something I like about like that you can do, which is okay. You can't give me more than 50, which means if you leave, I don't lose half my revenue, no matter what you do. As long as I'm pleasing the majority, I'm good. I like that. It's good protection against being influenced by one specific person who wants to take over or whatever. It depends. Like if it helps them make money, it helps them make money. My favorite Patreons are the Patreons that don't ask for anything or don't give anything back. You want to give me money for making videos? Go ahead. Go right ahead. I'll make more videos.
You want to give me money for making fast food reviews and fast food reactions through drive-thrus? By all means, right? Now, my favorite Patreons are the feminist ones.
Why?
Segue. What is there to say about feminism today? Well, I'm going to let you explain the first part anyhow.
I'm going to start with an article, and this will lead to the bigger topic. So I was sent this article on the premise that there was sexual harassment allegations on Riot Games, the company that makes League of Legends. And apparently there was a clause in the thing, in their contract, they can't be sued. So to me, it was supposed to be like a funny fake out, like, oh, we harass, and then we were sued, and we're like, hey, you can't touch me. And I was going to comment on that and how funny that is. But I read an article, and then I read a subsequent article that is linked to it. And for both of them, I did not find anything regarding the not being the no suit, not being able to get sued thing. But I did find something, which is these harassment talks that are happening kind of sound like the same harassment talks that have been happening for the last 2 years. It's like you can predict what they're going to say, and then you read, and then it's the same thing as what you predicted. It's like they're not paying us the same amount. We're getting passed over for promotion. We're being here's the thing. We're being objectified during parties where everybody's drunk. Like, come on, cut the guys some slack. They're drunk. No. We're getting objectified. We're getting sexist jokes. The people are being considered, making jokes about, of course. And I have to take the direct quote here, because the direct quote is annoying, because it doesn't sound real. It sounds like somebody made it up. And it goes, and I quote, and are required to participate and tolerate crude male humor, which includes jokes about sex, defecation, masturbation, rape, and torture, amongst other claims, end quote. This is a problem.
That's where I call bullshit. In today's climate, I highly doubt, even when you're wasted, that people are making rape jokes in the presence of women. Hell,
And
even in the presence of guys, a lot of people don't have the stomach for that, right?
keep in mind, forced to participate. What the fuck?
You're
First,
forced to stay at the
yeah.
table.
First, it's jokes. Second, you're forced to do it. Third, masturbation, defecation. Who jokes about taking a shit? We're not 6 years old. Like, what the fuck?
No, and then torture, that's just a weird one because
Yeah, like it's like somebody came up with the worst things you can think of and just wrote it in the article. So we'd feel bad.
or they quoted somebody or like well actually you said it, it sounds fake. I don't buy that. I don't buy the last two personally. Personally. I don't buy torture and I don't buy the rape joke allegations because coming from a person who has a very dark sense of humor, you need to feel people out. You
Yeah,
don't just hit them with a rape joke unless
yeah.
you know they can take it. And even then, if you're in a crowd of people, most of which you won't know that personally, you're not going to be whipping those out willy nilly.
So based on that, pay grade issues, right? Passing over promotion. You know what my problem with these two are? Okay, I'm a guy. I don't get paid as much as another person, guy or girl. But let's just make it a guy to make it simple, right? I'm not getting paid as much as the other guy. I always get passed over for promotion. What does that tell me? Am I being discriminated against? Or maybe I should work better or harder, or maybe there's something wrong. Maybe there's a problem with the company. They don't respect me as an individual.
Maybe you should stop being a male chauvinist, thick, misogynist pig.
Oh, that'll
Yeah.
work. Let me grow my hair. This is my
No,
hair
here,
now.
no. This is a real point I'm making. Everyone addresses the supposed problem, but the answer is never.
And
This is
actual
one of
answer, yeah.
yeah. This is one of the few cases in which I would appreciate an answer that's more black and white oriented. I can't stand when people say, "Well, men just need to stop." Have you ever heard this one? Men just need to stop raping, or they need to learn
Oh
how
yeah.
not to rape.
They need to
Nobody's
control
fucking
themselves.
mother is teaching them how to rape.
No, no, you realize
What
we're
is
paying.
actually wrong with you? What?
Dude, this is an unpopular opinion, but nobody, like, not everybody rapes because they are like chauvinistic jackasses who want to destroy a woman's life. Most people, I assume, they rape out of frustration, out of anger, out of being rejected and can't taking it over emotional things. So when men be emotional and can't control themselves and they're drunk and everything sucks
They don't have
and
internet or computer fast, so they can't get to the porn fast enough. Yeah.
but there are elements that we can see and we can prevent. You know, I think a better cure for rape would be curing depression, teaching people how to sexually behave. And I don't mean by don't start look at the woman's butt, look at her eyes. I don't mean that. I mean actual actual helpful tips. So when you hold the woman to take a picture, don't put your hand on her shoulder. Where else am I supposed to put it?
No, you're supposed to do that thing that Keanu Reeves does, where he just kind of like does the hover. Right?
What?
You
Like
hover the. Have you seen that picture? I'm pretty sure
what
it's Keanu
dress?
Reeves. He's like they
I
call
have
him
to
a
look it up.
gentleman because he's like he has his hand around a woman but not touching her, and so it just looks like his arm is floating in the air. And a lot of guys do this. My
Right?
primary concern with a majority of the feminist rhetoric that goes on in regards to supposedly solving these issues, rape, just one of the many, obviously, is men essentially need to stop being men. And this translates to the whole, well, men need to cut back on the toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity. You mean that thing that defends nations? You mean that thing that has created most of modern civilization?
Hold on. Holy shit. I see it.
Did you find it? Yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah,
the ultimate
he's
gentleman.
he's doing it this. Don't accuse me of rape, guys, please.
Yeah, this like semi jazz hands type of. At least this one, because he's an actor, he can pull it off as like this
Oh, he
is
pulled it off.
funny. This
Yeah, he
is
pulled it
supposed
off.
to be
Yeah.
funny. What if I told you though? There's plenty of people who are actually actively doing this because they are afraid. And the funny thing is, most women they look at this and they think it's weird. They just like, oh, the guy doesn't want to touch me. Okay, let me just like scoot in a little bit closer, I guess, because I don't want the picture to look entirely awkward. The one that you hear a lot is women are now discussing the fact. I mentioned this in a video a long time ago on the old channel, actually, where I had a friend who, and he mentioned it in the comments as well, where I have a friend whose sister was dating somebody, or was before they were dating. He like tried to grab her hand, but he asked for permission, and it killed the vibe immediately.
Of course it does.
I mean, they were at Denny's too, so that's excuse enough, but maybe that kills the vibe. But like, asked to grab her hand and diminishes all sexual things from there.
Okay. Let me, like, there's a thing about sexuality that includes a degree of impulsiveness and flow
and subtlety.
Yeah, subtlety. Like there is just a dance that happens and occurs, and both people want to do it, right? But imagine me in the middle of the act of dancing, be like, "Can I put my hand on your bum so I can execute the dance properly, platonically, of course?"
Please sign this contract and consent on video.
Like,
which is also a thing people are doing, by the way. All right. If there's no bigger turnoff in the world than a woman saying, well, I would have slept with him if he didn't fucking whip out his iPhone as opposed to his penis and asked me to record a consent video.
you know, as the act is
Can
going,
I find
it's like,
that article actually?
he wants to do like a selfie. She thinks it's being cute, right? Oh, he's trying to do a selfie in the middle of that. Maybe Snapchat it. You know, some people are going to see me. This is exciting. Do you consent to having sex with me? Say yes.
No, this is full on. We've reached beyond the level of what is it called? Of like when people recorded themselves having sex tapes. We've gone beyond that. Now consent tapes are that's the real deal, man. All right, we have them. What are we doing? What are we honestly doing? And again, this is to clarify, most women who don't even identify as feminists themselves obviously don't consent, no pun intended, to these consensual indictments now. But it's gotten to the point where enough of the mainstream is supporting it, because if they don't, then they're going to be accused of being enablers. Then it's creating a universal concern.
Here's the thing, and that's something people like women don't understand. Way back when, in the 80s, a woman can accuse a man of raping her, he can be acquitted, and his reputation is done for the rest of his life. He's an accused rapist. You know? That's a stain that he can never erase. Right? These days, you don't even need proof to get the full effect. You're not an accused, you're a rapist now. That's a stain that will not wash away. And how many people lost their jobs, their careers, their scholarships because they had sex with somebody at a party, and then the female woke up, felt like shit because she, you know, oh shit, I fucked that, right? And she was like, okay, how do I get out of this? Oh, I got raped. Yeah, that will save face.
Yeah, just so you don't look like such a desperate slut, I guess, to your friends. Yeah. Is that really the price that you're willing to pay? And because it's not you that's paying it, right? It's somebody else. You just have to cry and pretend for a while. And aside from the obvious, it's an insult to real victims of rape.
Yeah, of course.
It has also gotten to the point where there have been movements started by the MGTOWs right? Which is the anti the anti-feminist movement, which is it's still equally as hilarious to me. And it's like regret is not rape. Regret, and people chant this the same way that feminists chant
Oh,
like
I
one of their
love the
stupid
US.
slogans.
Oh, I love the US.
Regret is not rape. Regret is not rape. They will charge the streets. Such a bold statement of.
Oh, no.
Believe it or not, I actually am of the belief that you kind of have to be a celebrity in order to survive most rape allegations at this point. Now, hear me out. Let's
No, I
say
know
you're
what you mean. Go on.
like, if you're an average Joe, you don't have the resources to defend yourself. And so it's her word against his, and you hope it just gets settled and everybody forgets about it. With celebrity status, you're a public figure, so people aren't going to necessarily forget, but that might actually work in your favor if you are indeed not guilty. If you can prove as a celebrity that you did not commit what you're being accused of, then you bring the quote unquote counterbalance to the movement, and you prove her wrong while proving yourself right, and then everyone's still going to know about it because TMZ is talking about it. Plus, you're rich, so you just have the resources to help defend yourself, right? Most people don't want to buy a lawyer or pay a lawyer in order to defend themselves.
It's not just a lawyer. You pay a PR company. How are you going to you're going to have to save me, right? You're going to go to a media professional and it's like, okay, what can I do to save myself here? And they'll be like, rape, shit, that's a difficult one. You're going to pay us well, mister,
They treat it just another day at the office, right? We got another hard hitter, folks. We need the full team effort. We need a team meeting on this one.
Yep. Like, okay, we need strategy. We need to know his history. Like, what? Do we make him a transgender?
No, somebody do the background check. Another person check his Facebook statuses from 10 years ago. Everyone else hack his Twitter. Make sure you delete every questionable tweet out there.
Oh, dude, to me, the beauty is, what's his name? That dumbass who does the House of Cards?
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey. Like, I assume his PR firm, when he got accused of whatever, told him, dude, your only way out, just become transgender. How about that? They can't attack you then.
Or gay, right? He said he was.
Okay, it's one or the other. Just, it reached that point. It's painful. It's so painful. I swear, historians are going to have fun with this period once it's dust, right? They have so much to take in. How can you put this era in a book? I want to see that book. I want to time travel 50 years or 100 years into the future and have them discuss this period like we discussed the Cold War. And I bet they have a cool name for this period.
Yeah, because right now Me Too sucks. Like, as a name.
Yeah,
it's basically just started because somebody's like, hey, I've been sexually harassed. Has anyone else been sexually harassed? And this woman's like, yeah, me too. Because a lot of people have been.
So, continuing on feminism, let's talk about why I started this topic. Let's not stray too far, right? I went to a feminist debate or a book club discussion. The book club discussion was on a book called Feminism. Feminists don't wear pink. Feminists wear pink and other lies or something to that stupidity.
It's pretty well known in the community.
Oh, all right. It's like a series of articles, a bunch of women.
No, Wimixon.
Wimixon. All right. That's a new one.
You haven't heard?
Oh, no. What is that?
All right, real quick. If I can remember properly, there was independent journalist Tim Pool reported this, that women were somehow offended of being called women
and
and
having
they wanted to be known as the X chromosome, so they just plugged the X into women, but they didn't know where to put it, so they just put it where the A should have been, and now people are unironically running around college campuses saying Wimixin. No, we're not women, we're Wimixin.
okay, I'll put this aside. I'm not
Okay.
gonna go with this. I'm just gonna put this aside. All right, I'll go nuts. Right. So the book, like, it has a bunch of waymen, which is what we call them here, um, and these waymen are making feminist claims. And I didn't read the book. I always show up to that book club discussion not reading the book. It's sort of like the fun of it, right? And I was expecting a flame war, honestly. I was expecting a lot of hormone-induced nonsense to be thrown, and we had the fair share of it. But thankfully, it wasn't so horrendous that we weren't able to talk. Now, I did record this discussion. I can't release it publicly because it's not a public platform, but I did record it for the people who couldn't come. And Louis had access to it, so both of us have a reference to what I'm talking about here. And there were some interesting things that were said, and that worry me tremendously. First of all, the introduction line. So the host introduces the book club or the book discussion, and she was like, okay, as an icebreaker question, we're going to go around everybody. There are 25 individuals. Say if you're feminist. If you aren't, tell us why. But if you are, when did you have your epiphany? When did you get the grace of God blessed upon you, heathen? You know, what is that even? Why? Why that word? It's as if you're.
Well, you see, an epiphany is when a person just has like a shock of realization. No, we all know what epiphany means. It's no, so I, like I truly said, I have listened to a bulk of the audio, and a lot of it is worrisome, but it's not surprising. I've heard it here before in the States, and I've probably heard it a lot more prominently here in the States, because the difference I've interpreted thus far from Kuwait and the States is that the States is just a lot more progressed in this direction. Not for the better, by the way, but we're already deeper into the rabbit hole. You guys are on your way, the rest of the world. So rest assured. And I guess what scared me the most about this talk, speaking from a distance, was, and forgive me if I mansplain here a little bit, but was the unapologetic nature that a lot of people had in regards to defending feminism the same way that they would defend religion. And here lies the problem. Feminism and masculinism, because like I said, MGTOW's a thing, these are transpiring into, and feminism obviously to a higher degree, they are transpiring into doctrines that must be followed. Now, the difference is that the mainstream media, at least here in the States, is beginning to adopt feminism as that very doctrine, partially because of Me Too, but partially because of a lot of people begin or have thought that it is time for women to step up, like it's their time, right? You know, when like an artist comes out and everybody's like, summer 2019 is going to be their year. Women feel that way about the next century or so. And these are the foundation blocks being set in stone as we speak. And that's worrisome to me because I'm a firm believer of, you don't raise one gender up by pulling the other one down. If you want equality and you're constantly preaching that, then you have to enact it as well. And you don't do that by acting against it, which is what people are actively and somewhat unconsciously doing.
Well, here's the thing. If a woman doesn't want to get fucking paid, or doesn't want to do the work that gets her the same payment as a guy, and then wants to be paid like a guy anyway, and enforce a pink tax, so because they're dumb enough to buy the pink thing that's more expensive because the businessmen know that they're going to buy it anyway while the guy will get the cheapest stuff. How is it our fault? And not only that, why is it the prominent thing people focus on whenever they discuss these things? We want the pay gap fixed. Well, go fix it. Work, Don't have a family. Don't have priorities other than your work. Work twice as hard as anybody else. All of that stuff. No. We want it. We see the pay gap, and we don't care about the logic behind it. And that's something I discussed in that in the discussion, which is that feminism is a movement driven by passion. It's not driven by rationality. What one of the first people there took it, and I assume you heard this, Louis, they took it as an insult towards like females are emotional, they have periods, therefore they're not logical, therefore etc. But what I meant is like any movement driven by passion without a basis of rationality will fall. French Revolution, let's not go too far back in, like any revolution that does not hold its rationality will fall. And feminism is supposedly trying to be revolutionary. And they fall because it's not built upon rational basis. Feminism means different things to different people. Feminism want different things. Not only that, they want things that don't make sense, cannot be applied, need a lot of time to do if it is possible, and they want it done now. And if you don't do it, you're a bigot. You're like, we can keep going. And
here's
an inherent problem there.
Here's the main bulk of what I which is my response to what you said, because you brought up the pink tax. In my opinion, feminism is the art of fighting a losing battle that you are actively seeing yourself lose. I'm talking to the females here and all the white knights. The men, there's a lot of men out there, make no mistake, that are feminists for the simple fact that they think it'll get them laid. All right.
Yeah.
That's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And there are plenty of women, of course, who don't identify as feminists because they don't need that pandering in their life. But one of the biggest blind ironies that smacked women right in the face was that whole Gillette toxic masculinity ad. They attacked men, which a lot of feminists jumped on the bandwagon of. You see, Gillette supports us, so we're going to support Gillette. All right. Gillette also enforces the pink tax. They have products that are more expensive to females. And everybody just kind of forgot about that for a second, because for that very second, they were making fun of men or putting them down. This speaks to me in the sense that if somebody champions your cause even for a little bit, you're going to forget everything else that led them up to what they are. And in a sense, it almost equates to the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So it's like Gillette used to be my enemy because they had the pink tax, but then they took a stand. So I at least know that they're on my side. Well, no, they're not on your side. They just saw that they could cash out from your side. Not only that, but they flip-flopped. A couple months later, they came out with another ad that was championing men, right? And championing that quote-unquote toxic masculinity, because it showed a man going to war and what he has to do when he comes back from war to support his family, and everything that was the opposite of what the original notorious Gillette toxic masculinity ad had. And then feminists were on the fence because it's like Gillette, they began to realize Gillette is primarily a male company still. It is for men, the best a man can get. How did we get here? How did we fall into this trap? Oh yeah, they supported us, or we think they supported us for like a week. But they haven't changed their pink tax. They haven't done anything different with their PR. If anything, they dug a bigger hole for themselves. And now it just gives men an even bigger excuse to want to stay away from women, particularly in the workforce, which is where a bulk of the feminist ideology is being fought. We hear about how male managers and male mentors are refusing to mentor females, and especially in one-on-one situations. That's not a coincidence.
This whole discussion reminds me of a comedy bit by Bill Burr, and it's called "Women Are Absolutely Right." You know what I'm talking about, Lou,
I
right?
know what you're talking about.
Right? For the people who don't know, just Google it, watch it in your own time. It's Bill Burr is amazing, but the basic concept is, um, like he started being a comedian. He wants to make a book, and he's gonna call it "Women Are Absolutely Right." And in the first page, there'll be like "Women are the shit." You know, our first chapter. The second chapter will be, "If you listen to women, there'll be no war." And then in the back of the cover, he has like the classic gay author look that makes you look like you really understand women like this.
Classic turtleneck, the hair
Yeah.
combed over.
Yep. And then all the women will open this book's like, oh, this is a guy, but he understands us. And then they go bug their boyfriend about it, and everybody buys it. Then I take all that money, I buy my own island, I get some whores, I get them all tested, I start banging away, and then I take a picture for next year's book, which is like what was
Haha,
it?
you stupid bitches.
Yeah, I used to put bitches, and then all the guys buy it, right? That's the comedy bit, and and to me, it's that petty. This whole thing, this whole feminist thing, is that petty. And someone will be like, no, it's about rights. It's about obligations and people not getting, and then they start like adding all those layers and layers and layers of drama, right? Poetic flair to it, like or inclusiveness. If you care about equal rights for everybody, then you're a feminist, and they have to have the lisp, um, and you just wonder, like, I'm sitting here. There's no way you guys are not seeing what I'm seeing too, but you aren't, and that's horrendous.
Moreover, it has become I don't understand feminists in the sense that if you are taking that statement, if you are for equality, you are a feminist. No, you're a humanist. And I would encourage you and everyone else to be that as well. Because then, at least there, you have a more reputable excuse to preach that, right? You're definite, because the way people define feminism is equal opportunity for all. That's not what the word suggests. You are lying to yourself. You're lying about that Google definition that you claimed you looked up. It's not at all what it means. Feminism is equal rights that women are going to receive. In which case, if they're going to be received equal to men, that can essentially just translate to a humanist approach, which is everybody having all the same rights. Which, if we're being honest with ourselves, is never completely going to happen. Because in that talk, it was discussed that there was a woman who was talking in that talk. She was very passionate about how she tried to play both sides, and I appreciated her for it. She didn't do the best job, but I appreciate how she tried to understand the notion that men and women were created differently to fulfill different roles, but they still want to be able to do everything. And by they, I mean the women. The women just want to be able to do everything that the men can do. Notice how you never see men wanting to try to do everything that women do.
Yeah, we find it horrendous.
Yeah, you really think we want to wake up earlier every morning and put on a ton of makeup? Spend an extra half hour trying to pick out our outfits. Well, I guess some guys already do that, but you get what I mean. Like, my mom often makes a joke where she says, if men had to give birth, the human race would have been extinguished a long time ago.
Because they won't do it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful part, that we don't have to do that because we're pussies in that regard. We would never want to do that.
Well, it's almost like nature has assigned certain roles to different sexualities, and that's why we're all different.
And that doesn't mean that women can't be bodybuilders. It just means you're not going to lift as much as a woman, as a male bodybuilder.
Oh, dude, here's the thing. Here's the beauty of it. So, in that talk, when it came to my turn to say whether I'm a feminist and if not, why, I said I'm not a feminist mainly because I don't believe in equality to begin with. and I don't believe in equality. I don't, not only because I don't think women shouldn't equal men, it's because I don't think men should equal men. And by that, I mean that disparity is good. Having a CEO and an employee is good. Having a pay difference between people who work hard and they don't is good. And that comes with its own like baggage. That means not everybody will get the full equality of opportunity for them to excel at their field, but that's not the main issue. The issue is making the differences fair, not making everything equal. Right? How to make it fair? That's a long and exhausting talk. But the point of focus puts things into perspective, in my opinion. I made this point exactly. Guess who replied to me? Nobody. They ignored me and they kept going. Nobody even addressed it. That's like the most important point to kill your argument.
Yeah, because they wanted to go back to talking about how women should be able to go to school and work and get paid the same as a man. Why are we still hooked on the pay gap situation?
It's an easy topic.
Do women not I know exactly how women come to this conclusion of how the 77 cents to every dollar. I know everyone knows exactly how they come to that conclusion. The female economist that disproved it knows exactly how they came to that conclusion. Why is it still a talking point? And it's not just in that talk, it's in universities, no less.
Yeah, everywhere. People now treat it as a fact. But it's undisputed.
And here's the thing. It is a fact if you look at it from that lens, equating it the way that you did, using that particular formula.
Yeah, take a broad stroke and like do this and look at the pattern, see?
That's not just though. Exactly. That's not just, because the way, for those that are not aware, the way they're coming up with it is they're taking the average amount that women make in total versus the average amount that men make in total, and they're averaging both. And then the ratio was 77 cents approximately to every male's dollar.
Yep, it means women earn less, but
collectively, not individually, collectively as a gender.
And it doesn't tell you why.
It doesn't tell you why, and it also doesn't help justify what many people already expected. But people translate this, they take this fact, and they think of it as like, we have two people working at Wendy's. Why not? And there's two cashiers. One of them's a male, one of them's a female. And let's say the male is getting paid $15 an hour, and the woman is getting paid 77% of $15 per hour.
Let's make it simple. 12. Let's say 12.
Yeah. That's what they're equating. That's how they're translating that information, not the fact that it's every single woman working in that workforce versus every single man working in that workforce. Of course, there's going to be disparity.
Yeah, because like there's a manager and he gets paid more, and he's not female. Why is he not female? Who knows? Oh, we need to fix that. No, we don't. You need to fix that. That's the funny part, isn't it? They won't take charge. You need to fix that. Work harder. We don't want to work harder. Then don't get the position. That's the choice we make.
That's back to the whole if feminists are fighting for equality, why don't you fight? Why are you fighting only for the good shit? Another Bill Burr bit, right? Feminists are just picking from a buffet. Equal pay an hour, we'll take some of that. Pay for the movie, fuck that, you can keep that. Dying in war, no. Going to war, no. I pray that new draft, in the States, there's a draft bill that's going to change it so that women are going to have to enroll in the draft that men already technically had to do. And the concept, it's gaining traction. And the concept, the defense behind it is essentially men had to enroll in the draft for voting rights, but women did not. Women just fought for their voting rights. But when feminism was first born, at least here in the States, and they fought for that right, they didn't approach it from the perspective of entering the draft, because they knew that's not what they wanted. Think about that for a second.
I have a perfect example. And by the way, for any women watching this, yes, we are bigoted, we are racist, we are sexist, we are misogynist, we are bad, we are illiterate, and we're not even woke enough. I realize that. I realize how we look from an indoctrinated eyes.
I am
And
far from the most wokest, the most
yes,
woke,
the wokest, the biggest wokest.
the biggest wokest of the wokes, wokest
And
of the wokens.
I find that annoying because somebody like a regular, healthy, non-indoctrinated feminist or female. You can't have a feminist with the sentence I just wrote. My bad. A regular female would sit and would hear this, and then she'd be like, I can argue some of these points, and I would love to continue arguing. You guys are not bad, but you need to understand our take. We're seeing the guy's take. We're seeing how you guys are reacting. Let's see our take, and let's come to a rational conclusion. Feminists would say this: these guys are sexually harassing us. And it's beautiful.
Cue Me Too and the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song.
Now here's the thing. You watched the video, and I want your help because my memory isn't too fresh. There was one particular individual in the video that claimed that all definitions of feminism that were given during the talk were bad, and that she had the perfect one.
It's not so. I don't remember her definition, but I do remember her claiming that, and it wasn't so much that she claimed all of them were bad. It's that originally that's what she said, but she tried to steer it as there's so many different definitions of feminism that it's hard to come to a conclusion as to what feminism is, which I agreed with her. The problem was that it didn't take the discussion anywhere that it wasn't already.
Not only that, she claimed that all the existing definitions of feminism that were presented in the talk, which were the ones so I don't need to cover them, were open to interpretation and doesn't focus on the main points. And so she makes a definition she claims that will be fully objective, right? Or at least fully covers the picture. And tell me, did that definition do you any good in understanding what feminism is or interpreting it in only one way that's the right way?
No, because she already admitted to me that it's open to interpretation. So it doesn't matter what her definition is if I, by default, can choose to interpret something different. And everyone else in the room.
There is one thing that she said, and I remember it very, very properly, and I need to mention this, and I need to remind people the importance of this. She said, equality of people, women should be allowed to do this without A, B, C, D, and without shame. That was her end. Hold on here. Be very careful of which you speak. You want to eliminate shame from culture? From society? Are you dense? No, you don't eliminate shame. What the fuck? And do I need to expand upon this? That's the question. I want to ask the comment section around here. I'm seeing your comments, guys, and I want to ask you, Louis. Do I need to expand on why removing shame is a bad idea?
You don't need to expand on it. I don't think. But here's what I'll say in response to it, in which may serve as a building block and or a short explanation of it, a short expansion of it. When I was in a college class a while ago, there was a woman who, those people that the topic's not about feminism, but they try to implement feminism in every sector they get the chance, right? So she basically brought up something along the lines of somebody said, what's different about how men and women interact now? And her very first response about how men and women have progressed, particularly women, was that we have gotten to a point where women can go and get it. And she was referring to sex, go and get dick down. and we can stay in the back and cheer for her and cheer her on. She said that. That was her first example that came to mind, that
Of course it
rattled
is.
in her dense head.
Of course.
That I think appeals to the no shame part. Well, how have women progressed in history?
They can fuck now.
They can fuck now, and they can be sluts now, right? Because she took it a step further.
Yeah.
They can fuck as much as they want, and we can cheer for them.
You know the funniest thing? That's not even their achievement. That's the achievement of medicine.
That is the first thing that came to mind regarding the progression of women. Really? You just insulted every single feminist in my the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. If you don't think all the feminists in that class were triggered, did this, and that's why women risk being called traitors to their gender, because there is that delineation or differentiation, excuse me, rather of interpretation of what feminism is. And for all intents and purposes, for all we know, this girl's interpretation could have been, now that I have feminism, or now that I've embraced it in my life, I can go and get dick down as much as I want, and I can clap for myself about it, and nobody can judge me anymore. Spoiler alert, you're still gonna get judged, right? Because shame will never be eradicated.
Shame is good. Shame is what's, dude. Let's eliminate shame from culture, all right, or from society in general. I go and I smack you on the face. I get punished for it by law, but because there's no shame, nobody can say anything. Is that making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the every action has an opposite reaction. Right, like the shame is the moving vehicle that's there to smack you in the shape when you're running onto the street without looking both ways. Shame is a good thing because it's there to serve as the barrier that's going to contain you from doing something stupid, which
Dude,
I would have hoped that this girl would have had an ounce of it in her to at least be.
Funny part, like her example was, if a woman wants to stay home, be a stay-at-home mom, she shouldn't be shamed for it. If a woman also wants to be a CEO, she shouldn't be shamed for it. And there's a problem with your definition then. When you say without shame, what you're essentially saying is to remove shame as a primary unit of social motivation. And this is an important unit of social motivation because, just how innovation charges culture, draws back, make sure it doesn't go too fast, too quick, and we explode. It's an ebb and pounds between what's known and what we're gonna know. And one checks the other. No, none of that. That sounds too complicated. No shame. Don't shame people. I'm a huge advocate of fat shaming. I love to fat shame people, fat shame myself, right? Shame is good. It gives people the drive to stop doing things that are wrong and do things that are good. And if they don't think it's wrong, they shouldn't feel shame and nobody's harmed. Right?
Dude, my dad called me, what a perfect example that you just brought up. My dad called me fat the other day as a joke. And the very first thing I did the next day was go to the gym.
Yeah.
He thought it was a little bit sensitive, but I hadn't been to the gym in a while. It woke something up in me.
Yep.
Because I don't know if you know how people notice things and then they say them, but they try to play it off as a joke, but every joke is rooted in truth. So who's to say that that's not something he actually thought, or something that he actually thought was manifesting, at least to a certain degree? And maybe I overthought it, or maybe I'm acting upon how I deal with things, which is I see the shame and I don't want it to consume me. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I can run away from it. It's not too complicated of a subject, but the fact that
somehow they made it complicated. We have to explain basic human units to feminism. for it to understand how society was structured. Things that you assume they know, but they don't.
Another thing about shame is it's always going to be the first unit that people look to judge you on.
Yep.
People think it's achievement. The average chum is going to look for your faults before they look at what you've done. That's beneficial, because people are programmed to want to feel better than you. And this is where fat people encourage this problem a lot, because they think that they're inferior because they have convinced themselves first that somebody else is looking at them and thinking that they themselves are the flaw. And they look at somebody who's skinny or taking up only one plane seat, and they think, well, that must be what better is. That's the shame speaking to you, but that's also your inherent belief that somebody else is thinking, oh, look, this chunky ass is about to take up 2 seats and make me feel uncomfortable and make me kind of swerve over here for leg room in the aisle.
My favorite thing, like my favorite characters in fiction, personally, are the outlaw types, and by that I mean the people who like the rules of social convention don't apply to them, and they don't care. And the reason I admire these characters is because things they should be shamed for, they don't care about, so they don't feel shame. They don't care is the essential reason why they're able to pass this social unit. And to me, I find that fascinating as somebody who witnesses people being affected by social units and always feeling helpless. Well, look at this outlaw character who is in control, right? But here's the thing. People shame him. He just doesn't care. And that's all you need to do to beat shame. You don't need to remove it. Let it work on the people who it works for. And for the people who don't want it, just don't be affected by it. I can't help it. Then shaming, you're part of the people who need to be shamed. Welcome to the club. Let me give you your card.
Here is the truth of the matter. I'm a believer that most of us can't be that badass character that we see in fiction, right? Most people can't be the badass character who walks around with a big ass sword and everybody looks at him funny and he doesn't care. But as soon as somebody steps up, he slices them in half. There's a couple of reasons that come to mind why we can't do that. Obvious reasons.
Yep.
Here's my reason, though. Most people can't be that, and so they have to use shame responsibly, which in my eyes is picking and choosing where it applies to you. Somebody can say things to me all day long. It matters what I choose to apply it to. My dad made a joke. I know he didn't mean it personally, but oh well, I went to the gym. It benefited me. There's been plenty of times where people in my family, my friends have made excuse or have shamed me for certain things or have made jokes at my expense. And then I made jokes at their expense. And, if you have a problem with it, then you bring it up within the group. But otherwise, you kind of keep it to yourself, reserved. And when the time comes, you act upon it. There's the gym. There's
laziness.
Honestly, probably the gym is like being in shape is probably the most prominent example, especially with all the fitness magazines out right now. All the Instagram models telling you to believe in yourself.
No.
When they're standing there photoshopped, and it's like they're shaming you indirectly.
All the Instagram models begging you to stop trolling, and that's the only thing they have, and they're nothing without us.
Don't send me back to McDonald's, guys. I was a fucking prostitute before I did Instagram.
No. The primary thing that shames me is laziness, and it's always something to the effect of there's something related to technology that I want to do but can't, or too lazy to do. So I tell somebody, like, "Can you do it?" And they look at me. It's like, it's very simple. Just do it. And I'm like, but it's technology, and I don't want to do it. And then they look at me with a look of disgust and shame. I'm looking at you, Aziz, and then The topic passes. He never gets around to do it. So I'm like, out of shame, I just go and do it. Not always. Sometimes the subject is too annoying for me to actually tackle. But a lot of times it happens. I'm like, I guess it's not that bad. It didn't warrant that look. So I guess let's go do it. And that's good for me. You know? Shame is good, people.
Yeah, I admire the people that learn this early because it's the root of all bullying. I often tell people if you want to overcome bullying, you don't overcome it by fighting back. You do so by ignoring it, but not the way the teachers tell you to. If somebody's bugging you to the point where it's borderline harassment and it's just annoying to have that person, yeah, he's a pest. Nobody wants to deal with that. But if you can use the bullying to help yourself out in some way, that's how you overcome it. Or you just don't care. But if you let it eat you alive and you come to school every day with a new cut on your arm, you are actively showing the bullies that they are winning. Especially kids. You think they have any idea of like the stature of the repercussions? Look how many people here in the US in particular, how many kids take their own lives and the bullies are not really held accountable because they're minors and everybody plays it off as they're kids, they didn't know any better.
Yeah, let bygones be bygones, right?
Right. It's not the 12-year-old bully's fault that your other 12-year-old daughter took her own life.
Oh yeah, actually, funny enough, talking about kids, this I think is the last point I want to cover for the feminism discussion thing, which you argue is way better than anything you guys had and way more civil. As far as I was concerned, that book discussion in particular was the most barbaric of all the book discussions we had, which means most people are actually civil. It's just that the topic is so erratic, at least for women. In any case, there was an article in the book, and I tried to find it, so I directly quote it, but there wasn't any free copies, and I'm not going to pay for this shit. And it's what to tell your son as a feminist mother about how to treat female women and whatnot.
Oh, that hurts.
Oh, you heard it?
No. Just listening to that headline hurts.
Right, and it goes like this, and I need drum rolls, right? And it goes, tell him the truth. Tell him how women got objectified, raped, murdered, succumbed to humiliation and oppression. Tell him how every time we walk down the streets, we get we look shoulder to shoulder for rapists and abusers. Tell him how we never feel safe in a basement. Tell him how we fought for our rights and reached where we are with our own power, with our own abilities. Tell him the truth. And it just keeps going on, something to that effect. I swear I'm not overstepping my dramatic flair here. That's how it sounded. And all the females after went like, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful, right? And I look and I see the horrendousness that was just presented to me. And the first thing I think of, if I was 5 years old and my mom taught me this, the first thing I do is keep playing with my toys because that made no sense.
I still haven't recovered from the initial blow of the headline. That took the wind out of me, man. Let's talk about sons of feminist mothers. I was very lucky to be born in a family to a mother who I love, who is not a feminist. She sympathizes with a lot of the feminist rhetoric, but it's all of the obvious feminist rhetoric, like, traditionalism, open the door for women unless they tell you not to. And at that point, they're just an annoying bitch that probably is not worth the time of day. Right, those people? Like, I can open the door myself. Bye, Felicia. Never again, right? Like, I open the door because I'm a good person. I open it for men too. What am I? Does that make me gay? Right? Like, I don't open doors just because I want to get into people's pants.
That's the funny part, isn't it? I open, like, if a bro opens the door for a bro, you either get that nod of thank you, or they just pass along like nothing happened. They don't even
Yeah,
care.
or you get nothing, and then you're like, "Wow, thanks." Like,
No,
right? Like,
they do. I don't know about you, but like when we open doors, we either get thank yous or we get nothing, and both are appreciated, right? It's fine, right? I opened the door. I did it for me, right? But to them, it's always about them, isn't it? Seeing a lady, I feel like a gentleman. I'm going to open this door for this lady to feel like a gentleman. For me, no, 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 no. You're not allowed to do that anymore. You're trying to benefit yourself and become a better individual for your own sake. Horrendous. You're overstepping your boundaries, sorry.
this is how you cheat the system now. You see a woman walking, somewhat parallel to you towards the door. You pull out your phone and pretend that somebody texted you, and you kind of lag behind her, and then you wait for her to open the door for you, because I am the man and the superior alpha male species, gender in the species. I deserve to be served. Now go cook me a fucking sandwich, bitch.
Oh no, we'll get banned from Twitch. God forbid.
Oh, God forbid. Right.
Oh, dude. No, here's the thing.
Oh, that clip was gold, man. R.I.P. Deller.
No, here's the thing. If you're a kid, you're my son, right? I'm going to teach you how to treat people. I'm not going to tell you about histories of oppression because chances are you don't care. I'm going to put you in a playground, and if you hit a kid, I tell you that's not cool. It doesn't matter who the kid is, right? And because gentlemanly behavior is encouraged traditionally, it's extra taboo to hit a female. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it if they push it, but just think twice before doing it. And that's a good lesson to teach your son. The rest is be civil. And if I want him to learn about feminist culture, I'll just teach him how to read, and he'll do it. I don't need to do anything. He'll do it on his own. No, I need to sit my son down as a female, and I need to teach him that women were fighting so hard against oppression. So hard. Like they never got anything. Oh, Queen Victoria never got anything.
They fought so hard. Dude, they were sewing clothes. That's what they were doing.
Dude.
They were working alongside men.
Dude, they're fighting, okay? The fighting hard was the invention of the condom, all right? Let's not pretend like these aren't correlated. Birth control gave women the ability to not just stay home all the day, all the time. She now can actually move around without a child every 3 seconds, right? And that's what gave you the ability to fight for your rights. Medicine invented by men. God forbid.
You could claim it's selfish. You could claim that we created it for ourselves because we hated paying child support. We still do. But in the words of one very intelligent individual, Mazaku from season 2, it is always better to go in raw. Real talk.
Oh yeah. You know when a black person makes that joke that it comes from the heart. It is a true thing.
He's been there.
Yeah, he's been there, right? And let's not look far. Let's look at his fellow brother, his fellow bro, King Ace, right? He agrees, right?
Oh, bro, that oh my God, that stream was legendary. That was such a legendary talk, man. Because that's the thing. We all agree that going in raw is better, but there's a time and a place.
No. King Ace agrees because he did it.
Yeah, but
in any case, kids don't care about history, right? To teach people history, you need to make them care about history. And history of feminism is nowhere near as fascinating, in my opinion, as the history of children. Because in reality, and I watched the podcast, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. It's called Suffer the Children. It's a short episode, 50 minutes long. And Dan Carlin showed up. He's like, I was, we were too edgy lately, right? So I wanted to pick a quirky topic, a fun topic, just lighthearted, to shift the mood a bit. And so I'm like, let's do a history on children. How bad can it be? And then he looked at children, how they were treated in the last 2,000 years. And you think women are abused? Christian moms and dads thought their children were sinful pests back in the day, and they treated them like such. So did the Romans, right? Like, children were detested until they grew up. Like some claim they don't even have a soul until they grow up, right? And so
Oh
they
yes,
can become like dogs.
there's nothing less edgy than talking about kids without souls.
Right? Like, and that's the funniest part, right? Like, just you want to cover kids. Like, how bad can it be? There's a historian that made a document or a statement. I have this monetary reward, a bunch of money, and if anybody can produce to me fully full historical documents showing me a dad that wouldn't be punished for sexual abuse by today's standards. Like, if he can provide me this dad from many generations ago that wouldn't be punished for child abuse in this generation, in the last 400 years, I think, like before 400 years, like, you get this reward. Nobody came. Every parent from 400 years back and going is an abusive parent. This was the generations that got us here, right? That's something to think about. Think about that for a second, right? Just you sit there and just you realize just how bad kids had it. Not women, kids. That's who suffered.
It's we're still talking about feminism here, right? I think I've said everything I needed to say.
Yeah, I think we've wrapped up very well. What, did we take 50, 60 minutes on this?
It was well needed. But it's not like we're completely out of the woods, because a lot of these feminists that we're discussing are the same feminists, the same women that are up in arms right now over a new Georgia bill.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Was just passed.
Explain the bill. I'm going to take a leak.
All right. Leaving me on my own here to fend for myself. This is scary. I didn't prepare for this, guys. I get really nervous by myself. Basically, there was a Georgia bill here in the States that is criminalizing abortion. This is a big deal because it's not just like a simple little petty crime that gets you a couple months to a couple of years in prison. This is life in prison if you commit an abortion past 6 months. And this has been a bill that's been in the works for a while, and people have been fearing it from a distance for a while. And then all of a sudden it just dropped and people voted on it and Georgia officially passed it. And a lot of Hollywood is up in arms because Hollywood shoots a lot of movies in Georgia locations, but now they are supposedly refusing to do so due to this bill's passing. The bill not only criminalizes in-state abortion, it criminalizes the ability for Georgia residents to go elsewhere to a different state to receive an abortion. So basically, if you're born in Georgia and you get knocked up and you try to go get an abortion in Georgia, they're not going to let you do it anymore. But let's say you try to, take a plane ride to California. You want to get an abortion here. You can't do that either without also being criminalized and without also being prosecuted for life in prison. And anyone who helps that person receive an abortion who is a Georgia resident will get not life in prison. The person who's the victim directly of the abortion, of committing the abortion, will receive life in prison. And anyone who helps them will receive some prison time. So this is making the rounds for obvious reasons, because Me Too is a big situation at the moment, and because a lot of women feel like they're going to die, or they feel like they're going to be forced to bring in children who they were not supposed to into this world, or that they didn't want. And there's a lot of debate going back and forth. Would love to hear what the comments have to say. but I'm curious to see how much this gets pushed, especially regarding certain clauses, particularly assault and or rape clauses. So, for example, if a woman gets raped, she had no intention of even engaging in the act. Does the law still apply there? There's still a lot of gray areas regarding this law. It hasn't been completely sorted out yet. Clearly, Twitter can tell you that. And it remains to be seen how this is going to evolve. But this has a lot more than feminists riled up.
Um, Before I give my take on this, I want to recognize Invalids2 Official, who's new here. Welcome to the stream. And yeah, we do see the comments. We don't cover you guys too much, mainly because we're too busy covering our own points. But if you ever have something to say it. The people interact here, and they're very welcoming, as you can see. As for what do you call it, the Georgia bill, one side of me is very happy because somebody made up their mind finally, right? On the other hand, in order for a Georgia resident to have an abortion, they need to not become a Georgia resident anymore. So they can't move out of state, do it, and come back. And I'm all for banning laws regarding certain things, right? But banning them for your citizen or for your participants, not even your citizens, across the, like, no matter where they are. To me, I see this as a bit of like something that's ridiculous. Like, we don't support abortions in the state, so we're not going to allow it. You're punished. You're going to be punished for it. Great. All more power to you. Thank you for making up your mind. You know, you're pro-life. Thank you for your stance. Whatever. Like, you know, you took a side. But the fact that you're applying it even across the entirety of the state, that worries me, because that tells me that at a certain point, another law can be pushed banning me from doing something. And if I don't have the means to move, but I really need that thing, let's say weed or whatever, right? A certain type of medicine, whatever it is, the law is that I'll be punished for it. And to me, that's a problem. That's a big, big problem. You know, it's not about this abortion bill specifically. It's about what this bill can mean.
And it goes beyond that as well, because the biggest problem might not even be over the horizon yet. Roe versus Wade, a lot of Americans may know it from high school. It is a landmark case that is an abortion case that basically allows all of modern abortions to take place in the country. In short, that's a very vague description of it, but it's a big deal regarding female health and abortions here in the States. And you learn about it in a lot of government classes here in the state, in every government class essentially here in the States, along with like 5 other big monster cases. This is the first time, because that's one of the untouchables, as people will have you know. This is the first time that landmark case is supposedly getting threatened, because there is a Republican majority in the Supreme Court, which is just 9 people that's going to have to decide that. Not the president, not Congress, not the House of Representatives. It needs to pass a lot of stages, but essentially the final vote would go to the Supreme Court, which could have the power to reverse the ability to commit all abortions nationwide, which is frightening depending on who you ask, and or beautiful depending on who you ask.
Yeah, like funny enough, like it's such a polarized topic, abortion. You're either passionately against it or passionately for it, and the people who are passionately against it consider everybody who's for it a murderer by association, right? And the people who are passionately for it see the others as trying to undermine their basic rights. What if I want to abort one day, you know? Or somebody I know got raped, as you say, and they're so polarized and against each other, there is no talks that can actually occur. You know, to me, like the way I see it, this common ground can be reached. For example, for this Georgia law, they were very specific. After the 6-week period passes, that's when you can't abort anymore. I like this. They give you time, you know? They were very specific on when you can and can't do it. Only when you do it after 6 months is it recognized as a citizen of the state and needs to be provided for and protected by the state. To me, that's a compromise. Now, let's see if we can have more compromises so both sides can reach an agreement, right? And here's the thing, like, 6 weeks is a lot of time.
That's make up your mind.
Yeah,
that's the saving grace that people are gonna have to linger on from now on.
Like, it's just like I like the bill. I just don't, as I told you, I don't like the part where even it's, even if the resident does it outside the state, it's a problem. And it's not because of the abortion thing. It's about what this could mean for other laws and, setting precedent that's dangerous. I'm very careful about these things. I don't want things, getting abused. And this looks abusable. But the abortion law itself, you took a stance. I'm happy. I'm personally happy about this. What I'm not happy about is how Hollywood is reacting. Hollywood's acting like immature pigs. That's what they're doing. Oh no, we got caught for sexual harassment. What's the next, PR trick we can do so people think better of us? People hate abortion. All right, let's go hate our abortion too, or the non-abortion laws. Let's go join that team. Woo.
Jews will not replace us. People can hold signs up for everything these days. But to put into perspective the grandeur of this bill, Roe versus Wade, which is what potentially could get challenged because of this president, not because of the president, but because of the precedent. Sorry.
Yeah. We good.
It's on par with a lot of free speech landmark cases. It's on par with a lot of First Amendment allegations. Like, this is a big deal. And if it's slowly, because this Georgia bill was slowly, quietly making its rounds. And when it finally got passed, a lot of people were like, huh? When it just like, I know I was. It just, I knew about it, but I didn't know it was to that point. And then I received an update from Apple News a day late because fuck them. And it just happened. There was a vote, and now Georgia outlaws abortion. Okay, who's to say that the progression of this is not going to continuously, quietly get to where it needs to go before you're quietly having your rights stripped from under you?
Yeah, one by one, right? Yeah.
Because depending on how you feel, you still should make your voice be heard, because they did this without much mainstream attention. If I'm being honest with you, like, I hate to assess something being relevant this way, but I didn't see this trending on Twitter until it happened.
Actually, I want to ask this question. When did the bill get passed exactly? What day?
When was the article posted? It was this week, but a couple of days ago. Hold up. I'm going to guess it was either the 6th or the 7th, because that's when the article was posted.
Okay, from the 6th to the 7th. All right. And, okay, I need a specific date on another thing. When did the most recent school shooting happen? What day?
Oh, fuck me. That's probably the same day, actually.
That's what I'm getting at. Is it possible? And I'm not saying it is. And I'm not, don't call me out like an insensitive fuck for, linking the school shooting to whatever. But you gotta admire the correlation. If they're on the same day, then there's a chance that this school shooting was done specifically at that time by somebody to shade this whole thing, and it's always the talk. Whenever you're doing politics,
You are going full blown conspiracy. I like this, man. I hadn't heard this one.
yes, you make them look at this hand while this hand is doing everything it's supposed to do. You call this conspiracy, I call this doing smart politicking. It just could be that, because to me, as far as I'm concerned, school shootings don't happen because people are depressed. That's not enough incentive, right? There is some sort of motivation going on here. There's more to it. It's not a coincidence. Like, to me, I find it horrendous that Australia bans gun laws immediately after one school shooting or one mosque shooting happens. That sounds like they were prepared. There's no talk that happened. They just did it. That doesn't look like a PR move. That looks like somebody who's trying to change laws and is trying to find a way to do it. Because that's how I would do it as a tyrant,
Here's why I don't entertain that conspiracy as much as hell I may even like to, because I'm a huge conspiracy fan. But the school shooting happened around the same day, for sure, around the same week, which typically would overshadow everything else that's going on. But there was not too much coverage regarding that school shooting either, believe it or not. And part of the reason, I'm pretty sure, is because it wasn't a mass shooting. It was still a school shooting, but only one person died, if I remember correctly. 8 people were injured, but only one person died. And the person that died was because he charged the gunman and trying to let his classmates escape. And he was gunned down for it. But
see, if 7 teachers had guns in this scenario, things would have been very different. But let's not talk gun laws now. Keep going.
Yeah, a different day. But that was interesting to me as well, because similar to this law, I found out about the shooting a day late. And it was because, again, it wasn't trending right away, which is astonishing to me, because these things usually they're at the peak of what gets referenced first. And it almost gets me thinking if there's a sort of numbness that is, well, naturally there is a numbness, particularly here in the States, that we've adapted to when it comes to shootings, when it comes to even school shootings. So how all of this managed to break out in what I would consider quite a quiet fashion was mind-boggling to me.
Well, who controls the media? Everybody knows who controls the media, right? Just a bunch of the same people, right? And if the same people want those bills passed, which I doubt, because anti-abortion is, anti-abortion is kind of against globalist agenda, if you think about it. But you never know what sort of 5D chess these fuckers are playing. There's a reason they're in power, right? It's weird, all right? What the media focuses on. It's odd, and it's a very corrupt system. Anybody who's not corrupt already left, because they got fired or they quit for their own personal integrity, and then they start their own podcasts and streams and news networks that end up failing because they have no budget.
And there's no doubt in my mind that everyone that's left is completely aware of what game they're playing, and their intention is to master the manipulation part of it. The Rachel Maddows of the world, the Ben Shapiros of the world, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, anyone from CNN, they know what game and what business they're in. And it's a matter of putting on a straight face or a smiling face and telling people what they want to hear when they want to hear it, and debating others on, or rather attacking others on behalf of those that they're defending. In a way, it comes across as a very, very noble business practice, but the media is a battleground. It's exactly where the culture war is taking place, on the media, in the media.
I want to address a comment. Invalid, you said that about the Jews. It's basically the Jews are the favorite, people, the society's favorite punching bag. You can blame everything on them. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. You had a bad sandwich, blame the Jews. You had You know, you had a shitty day, blame the Jews. You know, global warming, blame the Jews. It's just a thing. We've done it our entire lives. It doesn't matter that they have a state now. You know, you still blame the Jews. Hitler did it. You know, it's they're the scapegoat. They're the ultimate scapegoat of everything. So I don't know who controls the world, but I'm gonna blame the Jews first. It's just what we do as a culture, as a society.
Well, you may. Us as me as an intellectual will blame the Illuminati, which many believe could be the Jews. Many believe it could be Jay-Z. Who knows? But we're not about to get into an Illuminati topic, honestly.
No, I want to avoid it.
I haven't done that. Yeah, I haven't done my due diligence for that.
No, dude. My conspiracies are mild. As far as I'm concerned, the world is a chaotic mess, and everybody's trying to grab power, and that's why conspiracy exists. Not the other way around, which is there's a group of people that want to control everything, and what they do is they control your mind. The media, you know, these fuckheads. I don't like that.
Aliens.
You know, aliens, the Illuminati, you know, the Masons, and all. No. To me, it's just a bunch of people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so, you know, they're trying to invade other countries, wink, wink. They're trying to take other people's stuff, wink, wink. They're trying to...
I feel attacked.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Watch it, Trillion. We already know the FBI and the CIA watch this stream. They might lag you out in the middle again.
We are protected by China now. You guys can't do shit.
China still plays second fiddle to us. Not for long, but, you know.
Of course.
We'll brag while we can.
Dude. The Chinese, if Chinese go, let's hold our breath for 5 seconds, we get the collapse of the Bronze Age again. Only now.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of feminism, if they want to attack if feminists want to go after anything, go after the fact that China doesn't like girls. Like, you're right. You're allowed one kid, and if it's a girl, tough shit. If it's a guy, good shit.
Oh no, let's go India. I was shown a comedy bit by an Indian person for Indians, right? And he was making a social parody of a comedy bit, right? And so he's like, he's dark skinned, and there's a stigma of dark skinned people in India. Think about that, right? Indians don't like dark skinned Indians, right? In any case, he's like, when I was born, I was so dark skinned that when my mom saw me, she went like, "Ayo," and it was so loud and so strong that everybody in the hospital assumed I was a girl. And that tells you enough, right? You don't even need to know about India.
Yeah, you know, like why are the feminists bugging us?
Right? Like even the Arabs.
You can drive in this country. Yeah. Like, dude, fuck off.
Dude, it's the same thing. Whenever you try to give minorities anything, by the way, us too. Whenever we the Muslims go to your countries and they ask for rights and you give them rights, there isn't a thank you. There isn't what are you gonna give me next, huh? I feel empowered. I feel I can squeeze you. I can haggle for more because apparently you're so willing to give me the thing. And I've always been under the rule that if you're a minority, which women aren't, they're not a minority, but they pretend to be.
Thank you. Let's clarify that.
Right. But when a minority enters a place and then they get, they are supposed to adapt. We don't adapt to them. Right. So the women come and they're 60%. So not a majority nor a minority, if you think about it. They have the more numbers, sure, but it's not such substantial numbers. It's not like 1% to the 100 to the 99, So these people need to coexist. Well, guess what? America is a capitalist country. What is the primary motto, as far as I'm concerned, for capitalism? Let the market decide. Right? So we let the market decide. Guess what? Most CEOs are males. Guess what? Guys get paid more because they're willing to do more work. Guess what? We can keep going. It's just very simple. It's simple facts, which I'm willing to discuss and debate. You know, Ugh.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
I don't know. We were talking about something. Guys, remind us. What were we talking about?
Yeah.
Shit.
I should have brought an outline. Let's see. Well,
Actually, let's talk about, since we're almost wrapping up. There is one more topic we didn't cover that we discussed yesterday, which is another conspiracy, but that of entertainment this time. So for the very unfortunate people of you who watched Game of Thrones episode 4, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for your loss. We all feel it. We grew up with the show. The horrendous disaster that was episode 4. Like, there was always some hope. Episode 3 was bad, but there was always some hope that they can actually fix that, right? And episode 4, they showed that they were not interested in doing that. But here's the thing. I think it was intentional. I think D&D are part of a conspiracy. I think they wanted to end the show in a different manner, or even stop making the show. And what happened was the CEO spat on them or something, the executives in HBO, they were like, smacked them, or told them their wife was pretty, something stupid like that, right? And
how dare you compliment my wife, you filth?
Yeah, and they cut their pay, or they forced them to do something. Anyways, negotiations broke off, and like D&D are sitting in a room. They don't want to do season 8. Clearly, by the quality, they don't want to do season 8. So they're sitting in the room doing like this. Like, we can't get it right. There's nothing we can do, right? What do we do? These guys are forced this upon us. He insulted my wife, whatever, right? And what do I do? What do I do? And then, and I always think David is the one who does it, not Dan. Dan looks a bit innocent. David has some sinister tone to him. So he goes, it's like, how about this? How about we make how about we make season 8 so awful that we stain HBO's name for life? And then Dan looks at him, but this may destroy our careers. And he's like, I don't care. They deserve it. Right? And then they sit in the writer's room. They're like, okay, how do we do this? And then they're like, don't worry. And just goes on the page, right? And then they run that by a simulator for, those simulators, they take a bunch of books, and then they make the AI write the story, the script, and then they puke on the page, and that's the patterns they give the AI, and then it comes back, and then they look at it, so it's like, this is beautiful. And then they start sending it around, right? And people read it. It's like, are you guys serious? And they're like, yes, it's working. HBO is gonna fall. And then when
they threw some white lies in there, right? Yes, George looked at it too. He approved of it.
Yes, and then the time comes, right, for the insider of the episode. Danny kind of forgot about the Greyjoy fleet, but they certainly didn't forget about that. And then everybody just goes nuts, and in his head, in very anime fashion, he's like, mission accomplished, as he throws whatever is burdening him at the moment, just walks around and goes to the CEO. What the worst part is? You have to play the next 2. You can't afford not to. And he just leaves. And to me, that's why the new season is bad. Dude, I would believe this theory over the fact that they actually thought that this was a good idea, because it makes no fucking sense. All right, they were going all right from season 5. Quality went down. The books are not there anymore. They went down. They kept moving up, but just season 8 just looks like a 3-year-old's fan fiction, like a 12-year-old made a fan fiction. Oh, let's make Arya have sex with Gendry. Let's make Jaime have sex with Brienne. What else can we do? Oh, let's kill the dragon. Oh, the Night King comes and he's sinister. He smirks, anime smirk. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
I knew there was a problem from episode 3, from episode 2, really, but from episode 3, when I read the interview where Macy Williams, the actress who plays Arya, and her boyfriend did not fundamentally agree with Arya killing the Night King. And that was enough for me.
Spoiler alerts for the unfortunate who didn't watch it yet, and the unfortunate who watched it yet. Spoiler alert.
If you have watched, like it's been out for 2 weeks, and let's be honest, you probably heard it everywhere on the internet. Everyone's bitching about it.
Everybody bitched. Like, funny enough, I forgave it. I gave them the shot. It was my bad. I'm like, fine, as long as it moves the plot forward. As long as you give us quality and good production, and then episode 4 comes out, nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing. No characters feel like themselves. Even the actors feel confused on their roles. It looks like, and it just feels like like the dying breath, like dying embers of a flame that was burning brightly once, and now it's just barely trying to survive. And it was a surprise to everybody because season 7, is nowhere near as bad as season 8. Nowhere near as bad. And that one was a drop in quality, besides the battle, like the second Field of Fire episode.
But let's go over the real concern here, which you also mentioned to me. This is supposed to be the finale. This show is supposed to be going off with a bang, tying up loose ends, bringing all the greatness from the previous seasons back into this one. That's the hope, at least, with the final season.
Yeah.
Where are the tits? We've gotten we've gotten sex scenes, but no tits. We saw the ones at the very beginning of the season with Braun, right, where he's just chilling with a couple whores that were getting ready to pose for his the picture for his next book, right? Haha, you stupid bitches, right? No, it's like that wasn't memorable enough. That wasn't offensive, right? Like that wasn't
HBO enough. Like, there is an aesthetic theme that you need to keep throughout your production, whatever it is. And whenever that production theme falls is when things start to wane. Well, it's happening. Nothing feels right. And at least if you can't have tits in there, it can be like that Dorne episode. Everybody hated the Dorne plot points at season 5. Everybody despised it. But then it was sort of redeemed with one actress showing her boobs. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Because that scene was done in such a way that it felt like Game of Thrones. And so everybody was like, okay, that scene, okay.
At least it wasn't a complete waste of time.
Yeah, okay. The Dorne plot point was not completely a disaster. There was something good that came out of it. Somewhere deep in Kuwait's slayers, Aziz is shaking from the blasphemy. But
all tits are good tits, Aziz. Fear not. In fact, if you would like to watch the show that all intellectuals watch, then you watch Game of Thrones minus season 8. I cannot recommend this show to anyone else now, mainly because of season 8. It's a shame. And the more you mention this conspiracy to me, the more I want to believe it.
It's so
because how fundamentally bad
can it get? Yeah.
Like, how do you miss the mark so bad? She forgot about the Iron Fleet. She couldn't see them with a dragon over like a curb, over like a little rock. So many missed opportunities, so many characters feeling out of character. It's a drag to watch.
It's one of these things where I really need to think whether I should watch the next episode or not. I really need to think about that. On one hand, I want to see how much they can butcher it more. How worse can it get? You know, can you guys like put it upscale? Can you confirm my theory? On another hand, you know, I've spent all this time with this series. You know, I can't leave it at its weakest point. It's like, you know, like a bro. You don't leave your bro when he's downest. You know, like you try to help him pick him up, and maybe our critiques suddenly make a wave of reshoots for the last episode, and they like make no, like who am I kidding?
Who are any of us kidding? I can't even get words out to talk about it anymore. I've ranted to so many people. I'm out of breath just thinking about it. It hurts, man. It hurts because I thought this is one of the very few shows that was going to go out with respect for itself. And for all the individuals claiming that, ooh, George R. R. Martin did say that it was going to have a bittersweet ending. Yeah, I don't give a fuck because he doesn't even give a fuck. He doesn't even watch the show anymore. So you can shut up and go shove it with that perspective. He doesn't watch the show anymore. He doesn't like the show. He's talking about the books. And that's if the books ever get finished. Because if I were him, I might want to quit after watching this. Like, this is the stain that's going to stay in people's mind for as long as the book doesn't come out.
We need to make an app called Track George R. R. Martin, right? And what the app does is just make a huge network of witnesses within the area where George R. R. Martin lives that basically spy on him. And the idea is, let's just see what he's up to, and just enjoy that, you know.
Yeah, set up a couple secret cameras in his house. You know, why do I have a feeling that if we did that though, and we actually started spying on George R. R. Martin?
Oh yeah, they did.
A full 20 hours, huh?
No, Conan did it.
Conan did do it, but I didn't think that was a realistic representation of it.
Oh,
I actually think that if you spy on George R. R. Martin, he spends at least 20 out of the 24 hours in a day just sitting in his chair, fidgeting his thumbs, and like looking around at his walls, and every couple of minutes going, organic process.
It's like your tree branch, and it keeps on growing on its own. And it does this a bit, you know. So his wife, when she walks in, he thinks he's working, and
yeah,
makes him a sandwich. No, she's feminist probably, so not a sandwich. You know, she tells him to go get a sandwich. Yeah, there we go.
She tells him to go make himself a sandwich and then make her a sandwich while he's at it, while telling her that she's beautiful and brave.
Yes, of course. By the way, Louis, like the comments are really trying to trigger you. Have you noticed?
I don't pay attention to that. No, I saw a Black Lagoon comment and I steered my glance back to the stream.
Everybody's like,
has anything good to say about it. Everyone knows it's the best show ever. It's the best anime ever, but everybody just loves to shit talk it when I'm here.
Yeah,
so I'll stand for it.
Yeah, I can relate. I can relate to this. Not for Black Lagoon, but as far as I'm concerned, like Thrones will not end with a bang. It will end with a, you know, like it's like when you're having sex and then, you know, your wiener drops in the middle of it because you thought of your grandma a bit too hard, you know.
Okay, I mean, I admire personal anecdotes as much as the next guy. I did not need that. I think that triggered me more than any Black Lagoon comment that Aziz is actively trying to. I see you in the comments, okay? Black Lagoon made art is horrible.
Dude, I don't know where that came from. I apologize to your ears.
It's because you can't smoke. You're not thinking straight.
Oh yeah, it is the holy month. Happy Ramadan, people. I can't drink. I can't.
Is he ever gonna stick that in his mouth just out of habit? Realize as he's puffing, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, and then because Aziz is in the comments, it gets reported to the international.
Police, yeah, to come over with the helicopters and no, I'm specifically fidgeting with this, which is a brush. And what I'm doing is I'm cleaning my desk with this small brush as
You
a way
poor
to
soul.
keep
Poor
focus.
soul.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Uh, but yeah, get me sleepy enough, and my allegory, like my fucking idioms, become very, very eccentric.
Sure, let's go with that. In any case, we should probably go ahead and pick an MVC.
Yes, let's do that.
I'm gonna give it to invalid TS2 official. Invalid TS2 official. Why? Pick a better name.
No, he doesn't. He's new. He doesn't know what an MVC is.
So an MVC is a most valuable comment award or commenter award, similar to an MVP, but a little bit more eccentric, as Trillian explained. So, because you're new here, I'm very proud to announce that you are you will receive an MVC comment on your first day, which is a big deal because the way that you earn these is by being very witty or being very active or being very conversational and or thinking critically in the comment section, all that good stuff, right?
All the things that don't matter, we give you a random badge to reward you for it.
Yeah.
There you go, badge.
And just because we can, and it's our stream, Zachary saying gets the most worst commenter award, if that's a thing, for his Black Lagoon slander. Terrible.
I mean, he has Saiyan in his name. I think that's enough of an insult.
Yeah. Although he doesn't have an anime profile picture, so that's a step up.
Don't worry,
but it does. Ooh. Well, we don't discriminate here on the Salt Grinder, right? We're sexist, we're bigots, but we respect all creeds.
Oh yeah, respect. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a suggestion, but yeah, we appreciate it every now and then. That said, congrats on being an MVC. And any other comments you want to address? Like I'm looking for because you said I'm.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You said that there's some stuff for me in here. I'm just trying to scroll through.
Just the Black Lagoon stuff. Just have you like. You're good. You're good. There's nothing.
I haven't had my piece with it, but I will never have my piece as long as the stream keeps going. So maybe it is time to just end it off here.
Yes. Let's do this. Thank you guys for coming. Tune in next week, same time. We keep doing this for some reason.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and rate. And tell your friends, tell your grandma, not during intercourse, hopefully. That would be a little bit too eccentric.
Subscribe to our pledge to our Patreon. We give free shirts. We give rewards. We take your money and we buy something with it.
Yeah, we buy more chalk for Trillian's chalkboard in the back for him to Invalid's new. He's actually going to check the description. There's a Patreon? Where did I support? These guys are awesome.
Like, pledge 30 cents.
You'll have you'll have our utmost appreciation. You'll get a virtual hug. Come here. No, you have to pledge first. I don't hand these things out for free.
Okay, let's end this. This is getting too
right. Yeah, we're clearly. Have we been drinking tonight?
No, that's the point. I haven't.
Alrighty then. We'll be seeing you guys
later.